Gary Lee and Army Armstrong, along with about 12,000 fans here in Owensboro, Kentucky, as this four-wheel drive competition continues. And this is Gary Varner, Gold Thunder. He's a local farmer from nearby Midway, Kentucky. He drives a Chevrolet with a big 604 cubic inch power plant.
You know, Gary, it's kind of interesting. We're talking about 604s and 700 cubic inches. This particular sport is a sport of what they call mountain motors. I don't believe you can be competitive unless you're running upwards of 650 cubic inches, and that is just a whole lot of horsepower in any kind of motor sport.
A good smooth ride, no chassis jump. The chassis is set, but he is down on horsepower at 263.15.
Well, if you're going to jump over the big boys, you got to go into the tall cubic inch motors. Again, like you brought out, the first 15 or 20 feet, he looked real good. The chassis settles down for him. The chassis is working perfect. He couldn't ask for anything more than just brute horsepower, Gary.
And that simply means that the weight distribution is right and each wheel is getting the same pull to the chassis. As we take a look inside the cockpit for George Ritter coming up next in Ritter's Critter. This is a Chevy, a chassis built by George himself, a Chevy power plant, and once again he needs a very good ride. The distance to beat, over 293 feet.
293 is the lead distance. Ritter comes out. Little bit of a flex on. Now it settles down for him, and he's going right down the middle, Gary. Now, believe it or not, there are lanes in this sport, and the middle does not look like it's the place to go.
Certainly not a good ride now at 253. He cannot be too pleased with that run.
Again, what we're going to be looking at is, notice how much dirt is being picked up and thrown to the back. That's an indication of a soft track. And Ritter is running in basically what you would know in a sprint car circuit is he's running in the cushion. He needs to get down where he can put the horsepower to the track, and he's not going to do that in the middle of this track.
Well, a good puller will always learn from somebody else's mistakes. So let's see if Charlie Lowe now, who's our senior citizen, has picked up on exactly where to position his Killer 2 Ford, a 1990 Ranger, almost 700 cubic inches. He's a senior citizen from the state of Florida, over 60 years of age. And this is how he spends his retirement.
Yeah, and he is having a ball. Believe me, when he rolls the starting line, he puts it on kill. As a matter of fact, that's where the name came from. He drives that way every time, go or blow.
Well, Killer 2 can only come up with 240.87, so I know that Charlie Lowe will not be too happy with that run.
The replay comes up on the screen. I want you to look at the front wheels and the back wheels and notice they're not tracking in the same track. That's a chassis saying that he chose it. Maybe the right way, but today I believe it was the wrong direction to go, Gary Lee.
Well, Army, as the competition continues, our next puller will be Roger Crawford in the Bandit. This is an 88 Ford 150 with a lift body, a janky engine, and the truck is owned by Tommy Holman.
Now, Holman was out earlier. He actually has two vehicles that are pulling. Crawford is nothing more in this point in time than a hired driver. He's the hired gun to drive this vehicle. Holman made his shot early, brought back some information to Crawford. Let's see if it helped.
Well, Crawford has had the advantage of watching all the other pullers. Let's see what he's learned from their runs. It's a good one. It is almost a full pull, wow. 294.25. And Army Armstrong, we have a new leader. Let's take a look again. This is Roger Crawford in the Bandit. It is a Ford with a janky engine, a lot of horsepower. He uses all of it. So Tommy Holman, obviously with his pull earlier, was able to take some information back to Crawford. Crawford watching the other pullers put the run together, and now he has the run to beat. And the fans have just been told they have a new leader, so let's go down and check in with him. Here's Army.
Roger, on the night everybody said the track was going to go away, it looks like you just took the Bandit Ford and set up on top and just rode it with horsepower.
Well, we just tried to ease it out and then gradually get into it because they're in the lot there, but just tried to hook it. That's all we can do. But I'll take the pull as a good, smooth run.
How come your truck bounces across the track and everybody else was kind of biting and chirping across the track?
Well, we got the suspension a little loose on it, trying different things to try to get it to hook. But I think we got plenty of power. It's just getting it hooked to the track.
So a new leader as we look into the visor on the helmet of Donnie Sanders, a 1989 Chevrolet, the Tennessean, out of Nashville, Tennessee.
Gary, this has to be one of the prettiest trucks on the circuit. He's got a little pressure sitting on his shoulders. It's called 294 and change. He's only about 120 miles from home. Would love to do good.
He also looking at the cockpit.
Yeah, but he's going down the left side of the track where Crawford was. The chassis is just wrong. just, and the black smoke coming off, that's an indication he was slipping the clutch. He had about 5 different things going wrong. Chassis
a multitude of problems.
The gearing was wrong, chassis was wrong, the clutch dust comes off. See the black smoke starting to come off? That's an indication you're slipping the clutch right now. He's in trouble. Then it'll start to bounce on him. You watch the chassis do that, the body starts to move. It's just a bad day at Black Rock for the Tennessean.
This is one run he'd like to have over again. A very disappointing run for the Tennessean. Nashville, Tennessee's Donnie Sanders. He'll put her on the trailer and take her home as we take a look at the rear of Robert Smith's Three Bears pulling team. One of the older chassis, an 82 Chevrolet.
Yeah, he's out of Winchester, Virginia, and it's kind of an interesting story. He and his son are involved in the sport along with his wife. They've been around for a long, long time, and the mascot rides in the truck. It's the Three Bear. Yeah, he's in the passenger seat. The old pro comes back. Now everybody is playing around with where to spot the sled. The Virginia Three Bears team, they go back to the middle. The 2 trucks in front of him ran off the left side.
So the track will fall well short.
Yeah, the track is coming and going away from these guys. Somebody's got to try to figure out where to stick the horsepower.
There is the Bear mascot in the passenger side. He has a good view from the cockpit, but it's a short ride at 275.92 for Robert Smith and the Three Bears pulling team.
Previously, we talked about him coming out of the left lane. Sanders messed up the left lane when he started bouncing because it dug holes down that side of the track, so the left side is gone.
Well, Roger Crawford leads with the Bandit. Then it's Howard Lewis and High Roller and Manuel Marino in the Yellow Rose of Texas. More competition coming up momentarily from Owensboro, Kentucky.